Hello and welcome to the 7th annual AnikFlorianPodcast Awards for the year 2021. Breaking down the year's best fights, highlights, and storylines for you, the fans. With your co-hosts, Jon Anik, Florian, with guest Ray LONGO, and picks with James Krause. Now your host for the evening.
Well, I hope my enthusiasm is coming through the microphone. Maybe I'm just excited to see Ken Flo with the hair tidy and the flannel shirt. Happy New Year to you. I'm in my son's bedroom. Monday, January 10th, 2021. It's episode 331 of the Anik and Florian podcast. Good to see you, kid. Little sun splash, sun on your face, choking out Clay Guida behind you. What's going on, kid?
What's going on, dude? I'm burning up over here, by the way. It's hot as hell in here. It's great to see you. I feel like we haven't spoken in about a month.
It's been a while.
But the fights are back. We are back.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Today is the 7th annual Anik and Florian Podcast Awards, and because of a couple of slapdicks, we will not be handing out hottest male fighter anymore. I think Clay Guida might have been your entry this year, but that award goes away. We do have 9 awards to present today. Also, a quick preview on UFC Fight Night, Kattar versus Chikadze. I'm looking at the second draft of the fight card right now. This has been a long UFC respite. This has been the longest that I have been home in 10 years working for the UFC. Wow. So needless to say, I can't wait to get back on the road, right? A lot of childcare over the last several weeks or so. All right, so we will begin our 9 categories with the 2021 Rookie of the Year, and we will start with Florian's best UFC newcomer for 2021.
Florian's 2021 Rookie of the Year, Chris Curtis.
Kempfel, what a 2021 for the action man Chris Curtis. Wins over Phil Hawes and Brendan Allen. Big underdog in both of those spots, and obviously he made an impression on you.
No question about it. Listen, he was not on my radar at all, right? And 2021 was just phenomenal for the guy win-wise. He had 4 fights coming into the UFC, 4 wins coming into the UFC, gets paired up against Phil Hawes, and you're like, oh, man, this poor guy, not a good matchup. Phil Hawes is out there doing work on him. He's kind of making it look easy, looks like he's cruising to victory. And Chris Curtis just all of a sudden wakes up and decides to knock him out. And it was a brutal knockout, man. Sent him to, the Shadow Realm. And then gets paired up against perhaps an even worse matchup in Brendan Allen, a guy who really can do it all, right? He's multifaceted, he's talented, a lot of potential, and goes out there and wins again by knockout. And now he's kind of on everybody's radar again. His first 2 wins in the UFC, 6-0 in 2021 overall for his mixed martial arts career.
Right.
I love his story, had like no money before he came into the UFC. He's my Rookie of the Year, man.
Chris Curtis gets an AFPA, right? I mean, only non-champion, I guess, that I even considered for Fighter of the Year, just because of the sheer volume and the circumstances surrounding his UFC debut. Was supposed to happen earlier against Phil Hawes, and then that fight got delayed because Hawes didn't want to accept it on 24 hours or less notice, whatever the circumstances may have been. But I've said this publicly. Sometimes as a broadcaster, you get a fighter like Chris Curtis and it takes him, 30 fights or so to get to the UFC. And you're wondering, like, what took so long, And oftentimes it's just a circumstance here or there that maybe a win ends up being a 2-year setback. He fought Bilal Muhammad in 2014. Maybe you win that fight and you get to the UFC in 2015 instead of 2021. But yeah, chips in the center of the table on the action man, Chris Curtis. And they're going to be easier matchups, man, right? To your points, like than Phil Hawes and Brendan Allen, difficult wrestlers and grapplers. And very happy for the father of the year and Kenny's UFC Rookie of the Year for 2021, Chris Curtis. All right, so I could have gone in a number of different ways here. So I'm assessing for my Rookie of the Year, again, because there's no hard and fast criteria. I'm assessing what I see in a UFC debut or 2 UFC fights in the case of some, but I'm also trying to project greatness in the future. So with that, my 2021 UFC Rookie of the Year.
Jon Anik's 2021 Rookie of the Year, Ian Gary.
All right, you only get one chance to make a first impression fighter on our active roster.
Future is here, right?
I'm here with the winner, Ian Gary, ladies and gentlemen. The hype is real.
Right, it is. So look, I just want to say, that was some hell of a knockout, but Jordan put up a great fight for the first round. For the first time in my life, I felt a little bit of nerves, a little bit weird. 23, making my UFC debut at MSG. It doesn't get bigger than this. We just shocked the world. The Irish are back, baby.
UFCFightPass.com for the audio. Not sure I need to add to that, right? I mean, certainly has the skills on the microphone. He's a thoughtful kid, but I think it's his appetite to get better at mixed martial arts that attracts me to him. You know, wholesale changes in his life, right? New training camp, moved to Florida. He's going all in, and I'm all in on Ian Gary. You know, Michael Chandler is not the only one under that Sanford MMA roof who believes that Ian Gary is a future UFC champion. I think it's ambitious for Chandler to say that it's going to happen inside of 2 years. And maybe he'll be a lot of people's breakout star of 2022. But for me, Ian Gary made a positive and massive impression in his UFC debut. And as such, he is my 2021 UFC Rookie of the Year. All right, breakout star of the year. So I went outside the UFC for this, Ken Flo. I mean, you saw this firsthand, but I'm not sure any fighter in mixed martial arts sort of broke out more than Kayla Harrison. Like, her fights, her post-fight interviews, she's must-see television. And I don't know if she became must-see television last year for some people. For me, it was 2021, but I'm just attracted to like everything that she does. I think she's the total package. When she isn't fighting, as you know, circumstances in her life, she has adopted 2 children. She's an amazing mother. And now, obviously, in addition to the Olympic accolades and all the gold medals at home, she is on this amazing MMA career trajectory. A lot of people want to see her in the UFC. I think she's going to have wild MMA success wherever she goes. You know, I do think the time is now. So I hope that she pursues the biggest, most competitive fights. But Kayla Harrison is my breakout star of the year for 2021. And with that, let us get to Ken Flo's breakout star of the year for 2021.
Kenny Florian's 2021 Breakout Star of the Year, Estrella do Año Precoce, Charles Oliveira.
That was touch and go right there.
I mean, the power of Chandler is a sight to behold, man.
Knocked out for Oliveira now. Now a knee to the body for Charles on the right hand. Chandler retrieves it. Now Chandler is down. Charles Oliveira is the undisputed UFC lightweight champion.
Congratulations.
UFCFightPass.com. What else can you say about Charles Oliveira? What was that Brazilian Portuguese off the top, Kenny? Do you know what Cody said there off the top?
I believe the translation was for breakout star of the year, right?
Cody, is your microphone hot? Because at this point, you're just fucking showing off with your Brazilian girlfriend. Like, what are we doing here?
That's just money in the bank, baby.
This guy's unbelievable.
I love it. He's getting his reps in. I love it. But listen, man, you know, a lot of people are going to be shaking their head like, breakout star of the year, Charles Oliveira. Like, what do you mean? He's a champion. Well, he wasn't on everyone's radar as far as that guy who is must-watch TV in a lot of ways. He was a phenomenal fighter. Was he a star in the UFC at this point? In my opinion, he wasn't, right? So he kind of was his coming out party for a lot of people, I think, you know, amongst the non-hardcores was Tony Ferguson, right? He went out there, completely dominated Tony Ferguson, a guy who has been one of the best lightweights for the last several years, made it look easy, wasn't able to get the finish. But then in 2021, he faced Chandler, And Chandler, you look at him, the guy, he looks like an athlete. He moves like an athlete, very powerful, a former champion outside of the organization and the UFC. And, comes in and is able to rally back for a little bit and makes it look easy in round 2, got the knockout, got the TKO, I should say, and then has to face Dustin Poirier, a guy who has been on fire, a guy who has, defeated a very confident Conor McGregor and goes out there and submits him in round 3. Looked phenomenal everywhere. Charles Oliveira is a legitimate star now. You look at who he's beaten, the way that he's done it, the eyes that have been on him. I'm just so impressed with this kid. He's a finisher through and through. He is dangerous and technical everywhere. Man, he is a big-time problem, but more importantly, he's a big-time star now. That's why he's my pick.
It's amazing to think about how much his life has changed since May 14th, May 15th of this year, right? And you think about his ability to recover in that Michael Chandler fight. And were it not for his ability to do so, who knows what his bank account would look like. Can you imagine the swing? Like, we always talk as sports gamblers on a daily basis about these swings, right? And I might only have, $50 on a game or on a parlay, right? But I have these huge swings as a gambler, and I can't even imagine what the financial swing for Charles Oliveira in winning those 2 fights over Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier. Good on Charles Oliveira. I'd imagine he'll be heard from again before the end of the award show today. All right, next up, our Robert Follis cornerman / coach of the year, corner woman of the year, if that applies, named in honor of the late, great Robert Follis, dear friend of mine. New rule for this year, by the way, we get to pick 2 coaches of the year, because I actually had a list of 18 coaches when I began this exercise, right? And it's like, where do you even begin, right? To not acknowledge Santino DeFranco and Eddie Cha and Henry Cejudo from Fight Ready, and Eric Nixick and Dennis Davis and Mark Montoya and the General Saif Saud, if I'm given an award for corner man of the year. I think that's the best guy to maximize those 60 seconds on fight night. But I guess for me, in the toughest category, given the fact that you gave Trevor Whitman your 2020 Coach of the Year, and given all that November 6th, 2021 held for this man, going back and forth from the locker room to the octagon with his 3 athletes, Kamaru Usman, Justin Gaethje, Thug Rose Namajunas, he's my Coach of the Year. It was an incredible nightly accomplishment. Of course, he was in Kamaru Usman's corner for all 3 of the championship wins. But Trevor Whitman is a mastermind. We miss him on the UFC broadcasts. And Trevor Whitman's my 2021 Coach of the Year. Kemflo, who you got?
Okay, so I went with Fernand Lopez, a guy who not a whole lot of people talk about, right? So I think you look at what he's done. It's extremely impressive and similar to the guys over in New Zealand with City Kickboxing, Eugene Behrman. What's impressive about that group is the fact that they are kind of in the middle of nowhere, right? They don't have that rich history necessarily of mixed martial arts. He's doing this in France, okay? He has produced Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane, Yuan Kutulaba, Nasruddin Imavov.
Yeah, Imavov is important to talk about because, right, like, help build that guy into a real fucking problem right now,
Yeah, and he's got a bunch of other guys that are doing well, on their national circuit, or it's illegal in France, but in that European circuit and elsewhere that are doing really well, that will probably find themselves in the UFC at some point. So the fact that he's producing these guys that are at a championship level, and doing it, well, I guess relatively quickly, he might disagree on that. But the fact that he's producing well-rounded guys that are performing at a high level and showing a certain technical mastery means he's doing something right. He's doing something different. It needs to be acknowledged. He should be credited. And Fernand Lopez is my coach, cornerman of the year.
I love you acknowledging Fernand Lopez, right? Because I know you chide me at times, and it's like, Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane like walk in his door. Yeah. And there's so much more to it, right? Kenny Florian giving out the Coach of the Year, and I know he likes to spread the wealth. Joe Lopez, obviously, who's been working with Alexander Volkanovski for day one. We should acknowledge him because sometimes he gets lost in that City Kickboxing shuffle unnecessarily. But congratulations to all the coaches. And I think for a lot of these guys, and I talk a lot about my dear friend Saif Saud, but to break through and corner a UFC champion, right? For all of Juliana Pena's coaches, right? Luis Claudio and everybody else, of course, Rick Little, whom we've talked at length about, for them to realize that dream is a pretty powerful thing. And obviously, as commentators, we get pretty close to the coaches through all of this. All right. Upset of the year, right? So I ain't trying to denigrate Juliana Pena when I say this is maybe the greatest upset in UFC history, right? And that's why I kind of want to wait to see the rematch, right? To see just how big of an upset this was. Was this just an off night for Amanda Nunes? But until further notice, until we see that rematch, this is the biggest upset in UFC history for me. Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes, Dateline, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Jon Anik's 2021 Upset of the Year. Juliana Pena over Amanda Nunes.
Oh, right hand from Juliana.
Juliana stunned with that left hand.
Oh, this is going to make Amanda tired.
Right hand now lands at a big one for Nunes.
If Juliana changes levels here, she should change levels now. Oh, Juliana's got it down. She's going to choke her. She's got to turn over. She's going to choke her. She's got to turn over.
She has beaten Amanda Nunes! Juliana Pena is the UFC Bantamweight champion!
Oh, my goodness.
That's the biggest upset in the history of the sport. Right there.
When Daniel Cormier starts going into his falsetto when he's going to fight, that's when you know you've impressed him, and he's freaking out. I love it.
It got both of us at the same time when he switched octaves. I don't know that I've heard that back since that night. So UFC Fight Pass for the audio. Yeah, I mean, that's the upset of the year for me, right? Juliana Pena. And obviously Kenny and I can't land on the same one, but there are a lot of shocking moments in that broadcast booth. Sometimes it's because of a quick finish, sometimes for other reasons, but I can't remember being this stunned in that broadcast booth. I was not there for, Holly Holm against Ronda Rousey, nor was I there for Matt Serra against George St. Pierre. So my upset of the year goes to a very deserving Juliana Pena. Kenny's upset of the year also happened with a championship backdrop.
Kenny Florian's 2021 Upset of the Year. Glover Teixeira over Jan Blachowicz.
Serra breaks through at 42! He's the undisputed light heavyweight champion!
Goodness.
And there is his white vineyard! Teixeira has done it!
It's insane. He did it. He actually did it. Oh, my goodness.
How do you not feel for this guy right now?
Dude, I'm starting to tear up. I actually feel like I want to tear up. He actually did it. Oh, my God.
And Teixeira, the ultimate sportsman, first acknowledges his fallen foe. Danbury, Connecticut, where you at? Glover Teixeira getting a parade next week. The belt's coming to New England.
Never give up in your dreams. No matter what people say, don't listen to them. They're gonna put you down. Don't listen to those negative people. Believe in yourself, keep going forward.
UFC Fight Pass on the audio. Shout out to everybody in Minas Gerais who felt slighted by the Danbury, Connecticut call. Hope you enjoyed Cody's Brazilian Portuguese, which is so fucking distracting. I don't even know what we're doing here, Ken Flo. But upset of the year for 2021 goes to Glover Teixeira for you.
Okay, obviously your choice was a phenomenal one when you look at the numbers odds-wise, right? Let's look at all the numbers here. Odds-wise, Teixeira was a plus 240. Jan was a minus 280, right about there, so almost 3-1.
Yep.
But for me, what stands out, all the other numbers, and you mentioned it beautifully, the breakthrough at 42. He's 42 years old. Do you understand that? So when you're looking at the numbers, you're going, this guy at 42 years old is going to beat that guy, Jan Blachowicz, who just beat Israel Adesanya. He's been on a roll, excellent everywhere, big, powerful dude. And then you go, and he's been fighting since 2002. He's been fighting 19 plus years. And I'm going to pick this guy, the Brazilian guy, the guy who was just Chuck Liddell's training partner, the guy who in 2016 to 2018 had this roller coaster ride of, wins and losses, just kind of all over the place. You think it's over for him. And he comes back and he wins. and was dominant here against Jan Blachowicz. I was blown away by the performance, and I actually picked Glover Teixeira to win. I thought it was possible. Right. So, in my mind, I thought it was possible, but the way that he did it, John, it's just amazing. Everything came together perfectly for him. And it's just a great lesson and a great story for this sport of how things can change so quickly. And one of the good guys in the sport, one of the guys who never talked trash to get where he is, one of the guys who always did things the right way. I love the story. Huge upset, in my opinion. And hey, he might hold on to that belt until he decides to retire.
I really like you highlighting that performance. Just such a special night, and hopefully he doesn't get divorced because part of the championship call. And there is his wife, Ingrid, right? It's like, I didn't even know what to say. And there is his wife, Ingrid. Of all the things I could have said, that's what came out of my mouth. I had her name written down on the card, I guess. My God. All right, we got to rifle through some of these because 2021 Anik and Florian Podcast Award nominee, Ray Longo, is scheduled to join us in a few minutes. Ray did not win any awards this year. He was nominated for Coach of the Year.
In our hearts, he did.
Yeah, we'll remind him of his nomination when he comes on the show in a little bit. Knockout of the year. I don't have any audio for you here. For me, it was Corey Sandhagen. For you, it was Yuri Prochazka. Again, impossibly difficult. I do think next year, one listener suggested that we give out a KO of the year and then a TKO of the year, right? Because some of these flush knockouts sort of deserve a category of their own. And again, it's just a way to sort of acknowledge more fighters, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. But yeah, I mean, no knockout was as memorable for me as Corey Sandhagen against Frankie Edgar. I had my Frankie Edgar t-shirt on actually today, and I felt like I needed to change because it was a disservice to my AFPA award winner, Corey Sandhagen, to wear my FE t-shirt today. But yeah, man, I mean, Corey Sandhagen obviously knows how to place his weapons, and he did not miss. You went with Yuri Prochazka in what was a very interesting fight and ultimately finish against Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, that's right. And there was a lot on the line at the time. He was facing Dominic Reyes, a guy who everyone thought would be the champion at 205 pounds at that stage of his career. It was perhaps the fight and the win that now is going to get him this title shot against Glover Teixeira. He came in with just crazy momentum into the UFC, had an awesome, year, and just really exciting to watch. This guy, he's one of those guys that just doesn't give a fuck. I mean, when you're throwing spinning elbows in a fight with everything on the line, that's just extra emphasis right there that he doesn't give an F. Like, he's out there to entertain and kill. He's a martial artist through and through. The knockout was just spectacular, man. Again, very few people have the balls to even throw one throughout their whole career. And he kept throwing it like he was looking for it. He knew something was coming. He knew he was leaning forward, caught it, got the knockout. Crazy fight, crazy win, did it at the perfect time. A lot of great knockouts this year, of course, but just for me, that one really stood out.
And what a fascinating championship matchup, right? Glover Teixeira against Yuri Prochazka, first quarter 2022 in all likelihood. Prochazka's hair should be illegal, though. I mean, we got to do something about this, It's probably hard as a rock. It takes hours to put together. I think Clay Guida's hair should be illegal, the way that's just flopping around, Now a guy can make his hair into... Anyway, we got to move on. Submission of the year for 2021. I don't even know what I'm watching out there when it comes to the jiu-jitsu stuff. But they're telling me I get a submission of the year award. This was actually a no-doubter for me. It really was, especially when I went back and watched it after cheating off another nomination list. June 12th, 2021, Glendale, Arizona. The Assassin Baby changing his life forever.
Jon Anik's 2021 Submission of the Year. Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueiredo.
This is not ideal in terms of the placement of the triangle. He'd like it on top. Yes. Because he's putting pressure on his elbow. Look at this. He's under the chin. Oh my God, he's got it. He's got it. He's still fighting. Looks like he's got it. Tijuana. You have a champion. Brandon Moreno is the undisputed UFC flyweight champion. If you saw him here this week, man, you had a good feeling
Thanks to UFC Fight Pass for the championship audio there. Stick around for the Brazilian Portuguese from Cody Barrow. Yeah, Kenny, I mean, this for me, the transitions of the choke, breaking through to win a world title by submission against a credentialed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt who knows how to fight a choke in whatever condition, cardiovascularly in Davison Figueiredo. So happy for Brandon Moreno. And maybe it's just a case of me wanting to give him an award. I remember seeing him taking pictures with fans at the host hotel after winning the title. And it's just like, I say this all the time. I'm a broken record, but the best part of the job for me is when guys break through and become a UFC champion for the first time. And we saw that a lot in 2021. And, the way this guy went about it, from, last seed and forgotten man and to be the first Mexican born champion to break through like that by submission. Most memorable submission win and award winner for me is Brandon Moreno. Ken Flo on the other side went with Anthony fucking Hernandez.
Kenny Florian's 2021 Submission of the Year, Fluffy Hernandez arm and guillotine over Rodolfo Vieira.
And I told my coaches, if I get this sub, do I get a white, like a stripe, my first stripe on my purple belt?
Oh,
So
you must trying to get to half guard. Look, he's going to the anaconda again.
And now he's got a new
Look at this. Look at this. Oh, he tapped him. Oh my God, he's getting cut.
Anthony fucking Hernandez submits Rodolfo Vieira. One of the biggest betting upsets of the year to date.
Anthony Hernandez.
Blown away.
Submitted.
I'm blown away.
And to think that somehow sports fans were watching something else when all that was going down. Ken Flo, Anthony Hernandez for you, 2021 Submission of the Year.
Yeah, for me, this was most surprising. Not necessarily as an upset, right? Because, Anthony Hernandez is a guy who, had a bunch of experience. And Rodolfo Vieira still, in my opinion, fresh into his mixed martial arts career, still learning along the way. But you look at Rodolfo. Rodolfo is one of the most credentialed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners to ever compete inside the octagon. He is like one of the jiu-jitsu gods, amongst all the people in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu community. Phenomenal grappler. And, if you told me that he could lose, I'd say, yeah, it's possible. If you told me he would be submitted, I'd say it was impossible.
Yeah.
But the impossible was achieved by Anthony Hernandez. And he, was 7-2 heading into that fight. He actually had lost by submission heading into that fight. A couple fights before that fight against Rodolfo Vieira. So coming in and getting a submission win over Rodolfo Vieira, just phenomenal, man. It was a beautiful submission. And of course, he had hurt him before that. But the fact that he was able to submit a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend like that under those circumstances, just amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's one you tell the grandkids about, right, Cody
Yeah.
Merrow? All right. Fight of the year for 2021. I guess I'll start. How about UFC 268? Pay-per-view opener. Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. Need I say more?
Jon Anik's 2021 Fight of the Year, Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler.
Gaethje's in trouble. Gaethje's in trouble with that one.
Gaethje's chin getting tested early.
Justin's chin is refreshed. He has taken some massive shots from Chandler.
Nasty left by Justin.
Ethan Chandler didn't appear to land.
He held him.
Gaethje wobbled. Whoa!
Oh my goodness, they're both wobbled. Justin just hurt him. Justin hurt him.
Chandler, though, has a couple cuts here already.
If you watch that fight closely, I need you to watch it frame by frame, and you'll understand. He hit me in the first, and I was in a little bit of trouble in the first. But after the first round, he did not touch me. Like, he hit me 4 times. One time was because the ref fucked up beyond absolute belief that I can't believe nobody understands what happened there.
That last bit from Gaethje in our one-on-one here on the Anik and Florian Podcast YouTube channel. Total chaos. Like, I can smell the blood when I think about that fight, right? And I'm thinking about eventually that fight being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. It takes 2, and that was the fight of the year for me. Obviously, a lot of worthy candidates for Ken Flo. We'll take it back to UFC 266. And I think this award proves that a fight doesn't necessarily have to be close in the end, per se. on the scorecards to be the fight of the year. UFC Featherweight Championship on the line in Vegas.
Kenny Florian's 2021 Fight of the Year. Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega.
Volkanovski gets it.
Oh my goodness, what a guillotine by Ortega.
He might go to sleep. The grip is broken. Wow. For now, Volkanovski is out.
I thought it was over.
The champ. He's a savage, man.
And now he's just beating
Now he's like, I'm going to make you break for that. Oh, big shot's getting through. Unbelievable. Oh, a huge crowd stretch from Volkanovski. One of the best title rounds you will see. Wow. Whoa. Can we just watch? We got to talk for these finals. I don't want to talk. Wow.
Yeah, and sometimes when we're not talking, it's because we're just in astonishment as to what we're seeing. Kenflo, Volkanovski, Ortega, for you, the fight of the year.
Yeah, that's right. Listen, obviously this was largely a dominant performance from Volkanovski, the featherweight champion, but it was Ortega that really made it a very exciting fight. In the manner that he fought, he kept moving forward, and he never stopped trying to pursue the finish. And having that kind of championship heart and having that kind of focus and determination was what really made this fight. He almost finished Volkanovski. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, Volkanovski was dominant throughout that performance, but Volkanovski almost got submitted. That is the beauty of jiu-jitsu. That is the beauty of a true fighter in Ortega. And for me, that just really stood out because, it was just one of those fights that really took you on a roller coaster of emotions. Here's Volkanovski cruising to a win, and all of a sudden Ortega has Volkanovski on the ropes and then almost had him again and again. And then you're thinking, is this going to happen again? And Volkanovski had to fight his ass off every single minute of that round, of that fight. And just a phenomenal fight, in my opinion. The featherweights have been really putting on for the fans all year in 2021. They've established themselves as one of the, if not the most difficult division in the UFC, most competitive division in the UFC. And for me, that fight was just ridiculous, man. Amazing, because it was also one where we saw them go from the feet to the ground and everywhere in between.
You couldn't have set it up any better. And I hope it gets that Hall of Fame consideration. Candidly, I don't even like the fight wing of the Hall of Fame necessarily, I just think it's sort of a weird thing, right? Because it sort of is acknowledging two people, but not really the individual. So then, does Diego Sanchez not get any consideration, for the modern era on his own merits, but yeah, just because it was 50-45 Volkanovski on one of the three scorecards doesn't mean that it didn't have all the back and forth and everything you would want out of a championship fight. Hey, real quick, by the way, Max Holloway is out of that trilogy fight with Alexander Volkanovski. Looks like maybe the Korean Zombie is going to step in. A lot of different options. I don't know if that's confirmed. I'm just seeing stuff on social media, but obviously a lot of considerations, right? I mean, Josh Emmett, I think, would be a guy that maybe would be considered right now. Certainly people are talking about Giga Chikadze, but he has a main event coming up with Calvin Kattar in 5 days. I guess they could wait. But any thoughts on that before we move on Holloway out and potentially the Korean Zombie in against Volko?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's rare that you see Holloway have to cancel a fight. He's been extremely busy. It's hard to replace someone like a Holloway. This might serve Holloway well in a lot of ways to give him some more time to kind of rest, watch Volkanovski fight, try to get Volkanovski in one of those wars again, try to take away some of his energy, and then reconvene later on in the year. So, unfortunate. Korean Zombie isn't a bad choice, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chikadze goes out there with a dominant performance. If he's able to get a dominant win, no easy task against someone like Calvin Kattar, that maybe he might step in there as well.
And you know who I'd consider too? I mean, I mentioned Josh Emmett, of course. He comes to mind, but Yair Rodriguez, who obviously has been vocal about his desire to step in there, right? I mean, if ever there were a time to call Yair's number, I could certainly get behind that noise.
And that was one of my finalists for Fight of the Year as well. His fight against Yair's fight against Holloway, another phenomenal fight.
Yeah. And I will say too, and you see Max Holloway, his performance against Calvin Kattar, if you're watching and not just listening, is immortalized behind me. That is the greatest statistical performance, or the greatest statistically dominant performance, or whatever the fucking verbiage is, right? What Max Holloway did, though, against Calvin Kattar in January of 2021, as this is our award show, right? Those records are never going to be touched in terms of the number of significant strikes landed. I think he threw over 700 strikes. I was shaking after that Max Holloway performance. And I'm telling you, like, I feel pretty convicted when I look into the camera, right? Like, as John Jones says, there will never be a UFC champion younger than him. And I believe Jon Jones at this point in time. It's going to be too difficult. With all the talent in the UFC, I think it's just going to be too difficult for a 21 or 22-year-old to position themselves to become the youngest champion in UFC history. I lost my train of thought there. Oh, yeah, Max Holloway, right? I can look into the camera and tell you none of those records are going to be broken. None of those records are going to be broken. Mm-hmm. Significant strikes landed, significant strikes thrown. I know he's not anybody's fighter of the year per se, but I've been calling UFC fights now for 10 years. That's the greatest singular performance that I've ever seen by an athlete, what Max Holloway did in January. But unfortunately, he does not get any awards here this year. All right, female fighter of the year. If people are not picking Juliana Pena, like, who you picking, right? I mean, what does she have to do? Amanda Nunes, greatest of all time, right? Consensus, beat her, right? Knocked her up on the feet, choked her out, made her tap. Juliana Pena for me. Ken Flo's female fighter of the year. This is not PFL bias, Cody. Which way did Ken Flo go?
Kenny Florian's 2021 Female Fighter of the Year, Kayla Harrison.
We'll continue to chain together this attack. There it is, and there's the tap. Kayla Harrison.
Nothing in this world is given. You have to earn it all. And I'm very blessed and very lucky that I work hard every day. And I want to thank my coaches, American Top Team, my judo family, everyone, my regular family, everyone who supported me from day one, my church family, everyone. I just really, really appreciate it. I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for them. I love all of you very, very much. And my little wolf pack at home. I definitely wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for them.
Well, good things come in pairs, right? 2 Olympic gold medals, 2 kids, 2 championship belts.
When all else fails, grapple. Well, I'm going to probably take my kids on a vacation, go home to Ohio for Thanksgiving. We got to go pick up Emery from school tomorrow. That's all I got planned for now.
Give me all the Ken Flo commentary, by the way. ESPN Plus is your audio credit. Ken Flo, huge year for Kayla Harrison. She gets 2 AFPAs today, which means she's getting at least 1 T-shirt, if not 2 in the mail. Very exciting. But yeah, Kayla Harrison's just awesome.
She really is. Everything about her is great, as mentioned. And, she started off the year, starting the process to adopt 2 children, her sister's kids. She was in a hotel room in New Jersey for 17 days with 2 kids, getting ready for a fight, cutting weight, doing all that stuff. That alone, I mean, forget the weight cut. It's like you have 2 kids in there. She's potty training one of them. It's unbelievable. And clearly she was going to be the dominant fighter this year, and everyone expected a lot from her. But it's not always so easy, as Amanda Nunes found out, to go out there and deliver when you need to. It's always difficult when you're supposed to be dominant to go out there and be dominant and show that dominance. And Kayla Harrison just did that all season long in the PFL. 4-0, okay? There was only one girl who got to the second round. She finished them all. And again, she's just one of those grapplers, just like Khabib Nurmagomedov, but perhaps more dominant in the submission realm, where you know exactly what she's going to do, but you can't stop it. It does not matter. And Kayla Harrison continues to get better. She's, at a great camp, an American Top Team, and she's my female fighter of the year.
And she's got that Target logo on her back. How do you think she cuts down to 145 pounds? I mean, is that realistic, seemingly? Yes.
I think I totally think so. I think she can definitely do that. I think she has been experiencing weight cuts for her whole life. Competing in judo. She is as mentally tough as they come. And, a motivated Kayla Harrison is a dangerous Kayla Harrison, and she is capable of clearly some unbelievable things.
I should have looked up what she competed in judo at as far as the weight class is concerned. And of course, Ken Flo's inner monologue is like, hey, man, if I can fucking make 145 pounds, right?
She's probably more muscular than me and stronger. But
she is stronger. Yeah. It's amazing what she would do to me in like an arm wrestling competition. She literally beat me in 2 seconds.
Don't do it, dude. Don't do it.
Oh, I'm not afraid to be humble like that. 78 kilos for the judo career. All right.
Yeah.
I don't speak in kilos. I don't speak Brazilian.
We got to multiply that by 2.2.
Outstanding. All right. Yeah. Finally, our most prestigious award, perhaps, the Adam Snacks Geller Male Fighter of the Year. Always a bunch of worthy champions when it comes to Male Fighter of the Year. But in 2021, for me, I felt as though one guy really stood above the rest, Charlie Olives.
Jon Anik's 2021 Adam Snacks Geller Male Fighter of the Year, Charles Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira maintains the throne. He gets the signature win over Dustin Poirier. Boa noite, Brazil. Celebrate your guy.
And that is a signature win right there. That is how he does it. Look at him. He's so happy. Charles Oliveira, my goodness.
UFCFightPass.com. Doubt him now, folks, right? Doubt him now, right? It's like, oh, he needs the signature win over Poirier. Okay. Has that now, right? I love this guy, man. And if you're taking me at my word, earlier in the program, I say seeing somebody break through and become a first-time UFC champion, nothing like it. And then to see him defend in that manner, to emerge from the favelas in Brazil, to emerge from a very up and down UFC body of work, 7-4 at 145 pounds, finally found his right weight class. And he can barely see on fight night, right? And he's so deeply rooted in faith and God and spirit that he believes that allows him to see despite his obvious impairments. I'd encourage him to talk to Billy Q and these guys about the VPK, because if you think he's dangerous now, I think he'd be even more dangerous if he could actually see. But Charles Oliveira, my 2021 Adam Snacks Geller Male Fighter of the Year.
Dude, pick a weakness. I dare you. Like, where's the weakness in that guy? Where's
right? He's got no hot. He's got no fucking hot,
exactly,
right?
It's all gone. All those weaknesses have escaped. Yeah.
All right. Well, no surprise, Ken Flo did go with another UFC champion, and one who looks like he is on his way to becoming one of, if not the greatest of all time.
Kenny Florian's 2021 Adam Snacks Geller Male Fighter of the Year, Kamaru Usman.
And of all the superlatives,
Jacksonville, Florida. Y'all said y'all wanted violence. You're welcome.
All right, go kiss later. Go back to the water. Go ahead.
Well, you'd like to see it.
Right? Breaking up the love. Look at that. You got uncomfortable. See that?
Yeah, hated the big tan breaking up the love there. Much love to Mr. Mergliata, though, but hated that. Ken Flo, Kamaru Usman, your 2021 Fighter of the Year.
Listen, it really was pretty much between Oliveira and Usman, right? I mean, both these guys just had phenomenal years. Kamaru Usman, he starts off the year in February, TKOing Gilbert Burns, a guy who, he knew very well. They had trained together. You'd think, hey, if there's someone who knows all about Usman's game and how to expose it, it's Gilbert Burns. Well, Usman went out there, made the adjustments, got the jab going, listened to great cornerman Trevor Whitman, got it done by TKO. And then, a month and a half later, goes out there and fights Jorge Masvidal in April. Again, wins by knockout. Goes out against Colby Covington. almost gets the knockout against Covington, ends up getting the win in a phenomenal fight, an absolute war. Covington as tough as they come. So 3 wins on the year, retains his title. And not only did he become a dominant champion, but showed that he's an exciting fighter now. The big knock on Usman is like, yeah, that's great. He wins and all, but is he exciting? I don't want to watch him fight. Now everybody wants to watch him fight. He has changed his style up. I think it's a testament to his training. It's a testament to his mindset. And it shows just how much better he is than everybody else in that just, unbelievable 170-pound division, a division that historically has been one of the most difficult in the UFC. And it still is. I mean, you look at all the great wrestlers, all the great strikers that have come out of that division, and Usman stands out amongst the very best, perhaps head and shoulders above the rest. That was a pretty easy pick. Once you went with Oliveira, man, Usman was an easy pick for me.
Yeah, and again, nicely done by you on the breakdown. And I think if this is like a 2021 Associated Press Male Fighter of the Year, right, where you're sort of a sports writer who is charged with handing out this award, then you have to consider the 3-0 versus the 2-0 and the nature of those wins and the rematch against your chief rival Colby Covington. Yeah. Hard to make a case against Kamaru Usman as a 2021 recipient of Male Fighter of the Year. All right, that is it for the awards. Hope you enjoyed the 7th annual. Great job by the executive producer, Cody Merrill, plucking all of that audio and his Brazilian Portuguese for extra credit. The Anik and Florian Podcast Awards were presented by Oddshark.com, the most reliable source for sports betting information with the latest odds, insight, and analysis on everything UFC. I would encourage you to check out Oddshark.com/UFC to get all you need to know before placing your bets on the upcoming fights for this weekend's card. The Oddshark Fight Center is an outstanding resource for fans. The media uses this as well. I can speak to that. All the matchup information is presented in a nice, logical way. Oddshark also gives you a compilation of all the odds from various sportsbook, so you can compare prices, and they're experts not only filled with insight, but they have been invested in mixed martial arts and handicapping MMA for a very long time. So please check it out in advance of the fights this weekend, and every click also supports the Anik and Florian podcast. It's oddshark.com/UFC. Don't forget the second S. All right, we're going to squeeze in the pronunciation of the week here before we get to Raymond Peter Longo. Cody Merrow, bring me that triple box. There it is. Nice job. Happy the awards show kind of went off without a hitch there. You happy that that's done, Mr. Producer?
Hey, year 2 in the books, huh?
Right, with you at the controls. Right, exactly. Right.
The revised award show.
Right, exactly.
Went from the Golden Globes to the Oscars, baby. Right. That's where we're rolling now.
Right. I was about to say that's his soft way of shitting on our first 5 award show, and then you not so softly just shit all over them. So,
well, I mean, I was 22 when you started? Like, give me some time.
No, that's good. All right. Pronunciation of the week.
Couldn't give me a Brazilian. Thanks, John.
All right. I have 2 files, and I assume you have both of these files for me. Yeah, no. Do I have a Brazil? No, neither of these files are Brazilians. All right. First fighter trains under Colin Oyama, I believe. He faces Brian Boom Kelleher as part of the prelim portion as the UFC gets back to work here at the Apex this Saturday. Big bantamweight fight here, and a very underrated fight here. A guy who's acknowledged oftentimes by his teammates. Cody Merrow, of whom am I speaking?
Starting off the year with a boom with Sid Yakub Kakramanov.
Well, it's not Sid Yakub, I can tell you that. And then you went Kok Ramanov, and that almost assuredly is not right.
You were giving me too much praise during the award show that no matter how good this went, I was going to get shit on anyway.
Well, but with all the Saids out there, why are you going Sid Yakub? Now watch it be fucking Sid, but it's not Sid. I love
that kid who trains with the Diaz Army. He's like has this crazy name, speaks perfect American, was born in Stockton. What's his name?
What is his name? Not Sid the Outlaw. He's Florida guy. No. I don't know.
I'll look it up.
All right. Anyway, Sid Yakub. It is not. I mean, I would say Said Yakub Kakramanov. But let's hear Said Yakub. Let's hear him.
My name is Said Yakub Kakramanov. My name is Said Yakub Kakramanov.
The CK is silent, guys. There's no cock, okay, in the name, by the way.
You hear the laughter? It was like laughing at me in the background. Like, good luck.
Yeah. All right. So, again, at AnikFlorianPod, if you can think of punishments or rewards for Cody Merrow, because it is a new year. He starts 0-1 in the 2022 pronunciation of the week. Does it sound like I'm rooting against you when I like it? 0-1.
Well, me and the Patriots have the same record. So next week we're gonna get back on the horse, get it to 1-1 in the new year.
Hey, I mean, it's all about Saturday night for the Pats against the Buffalo
haters,
Bills.
our rebuild is over.
All right, and then this other name oftentimes confuses commentators. So he's a flyweight contender number 5 in the world, fighting Rogerio Bontorin on the main card on ESPN Plus this weekend in the flyweight division. Cody, who am I talking about here? I mean, do you know who I'm talking about here?
I mean, I'm not going to give myself an 0-2 to start off the year. Like, do you want me to
This
play
one's not on the record, so you
Oh.
can't even get a win here. But do you know how he pronounces it?
Brendan Royval?
No, so you're not emphasizing the second syllable, excuse me. It's Royval. And
Royval.
this is a hard one. Like, there's certain names that are pretty simple that give me the hardest time. This name gives people a hard time. Let's hear
Brandon Raw Dog Royval. Brandon Raw Dog Royval.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about practice, but yeah, Royval.
Raw dog.
But if you're prepping all week and you're thinking Royval, becomes very hard to say Royval,
Yeah, like Bilal. Like Bilal.
That one, I mean,
good luck.
We don't want to take up too much airtime with this here Bilal Muhammad. But Chael Sonnen calls him Blahal. Blahal. He calls him Blahal. Blahal. I mean,
At least it's all good things.
Not spelled that way.
No. Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right. That's it for the pronunciation of the week. Let us get to the first Ray Longo minute of 2022. Hey,
that's what
Happy New Year.
That's what I'm talking about. Where you guys been?
Happy New Year. What, have you been waiting on us?
No.
Oh, all right. All right. Because it's 12:38, right? So we've been sitting here. Playing fucking pickleball for 8 minutes. So just making sure you're not waiting on us,
Oh, man. Tell Cody, if you hear me, I can barely hear these guys again. I forget Hold on a second.
All right, we're holding.
I got to do this again. Hold on.
We're holding. Cody, keep this all in the show.
Let me try this. Wait a minute.
I mean, this guy, man, calls all the shots. Yo, and you know what? Now we're gonna clear out our nasal passages. Which Cody, I don't think we can keep it now. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think that's better. Go ahead.
It's a great advertisement for Venom, if nothing else. What?
Yeah, because Venom don't pay me nothing.
Can we get your face, Ray, or no?
There goes your 2021 Media Personality of the Year award right there. Sorry about it.
We're only getting Ray's shoulder today. We haven't paid him enough.
We just lost our licensing deal. Yeah. This is all just scintillating. Cody, I ain't going to be mad if you cut out some of that god awful. Oh, come on, Ray, man. Happy New Year, my man. I can't hear him now.
Sorry about that, guys.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Holy crow. This is like professional.
Look at you. Look at you.
Oh, yeah. How do I look? I feel like a mess.
Look how tangled those headphones are.
Look at those headphones.
Look at this. I just pulled these out of my ass. I hope nobody minds.
Playing with those things? What the hell's going on?
Shit, man. Yeah. I don't know. What do I know? Kenny, you're looking dapper, buddy.
Thank you.
You got a nice haircut. John, how you feeling, buddy?
Happy New Year, my man. It's great to see you.
Happy New Year. What you guys been doing?
Listening to you on Buffer's podcast. No, we took last week off because my daughters didn't have school, so we pushed the award show back to today, and have a number of different items to talk to you about. But it's good to see you, man. How was your New Year's and all that fluff?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we got killed with COVID over here, like 1 in 4 people. So I just laid low. Everybody kind of laid low for Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah,
but it's a great time. But it was tried to play it a little safe because a lot of things coming up. So, no distractions.
I understand. Look at this guy with his cold brew. Yeah,
come on. I miss you guys. It wasn't 1 week. It's been like 3 weeks. That's the first thing. 3 weeks.
At least 2.
At least two. All right, we'll agree on two. Kenny was driving his Porsche while we're sitting here in the snow. This is awful, horrible.
Yeah. It was 70. It was 70 on Christmas over here.
It's like 4. I think it's 4 outside, but I'm not sure.
Dang.
Well, since I know you don't listen to the show when you're not on it, I'll tell you, he put a 15-foot Christmas tree on top of a Porsche sport utility vehicle. So
yeah.
Wow. I love
That's what they do in Charlotte, North Carolina. You know? That's what they do.
There's no rules or regulations over there. They do what they want to do.
Yeah. I pulled 8 muscles in my back. It was great. Yeah.
So whose hand did you just shake, by the way? A nobody or a somebody?
No, that was Edwin. He's fighting in about a month.
He's a somebody.
Big Eddie.
What's his last name?
No. Stop. It's a tough morning. Edwin Smart.
Edwin Smart. Is that his last name? Smart? You got it. All right. Good.
So you want me to go get Smart?
Oh, I like that.
Wow.
No, we're good.
I like
we're
that
good.
show.
We'll take Edwin on a future episode, though. All right. So a few things to get to with you. So we did our award show today. I might ask you about a couple of those, but oh man, yep, clearing that nasal passage right out. So Matt Frivola, God love the steamroller, and his father Sal, the fucking bulldozer Frivola, all these guys, right? Did you see the video that Matt Frivola did about you? I mean, I was sent a video of him talking about you for 2 minutes. I mean, you are the Godfather, right? I mean. But please tell me you've seen this video. Make a grown man cry.
I'm gonna say I did see it. I don't know if I watched the whole thing, but I did. I 100%. So he's in the car.
Yeah,
talking.
man.
Yeah, no, it was very, very touching. I appreciate what he said too.
If that was me, I would have probably bowed out after 90 seconds. You can only take so much praise.
Yeah.
No, as a guy who takes a compliment well, but it was very well thought.
Especially a guy that's crying at every possible chance he gets at this point in life. I can't get through a show. You can give me a horror show, I start crying.
Right.
I don't even know what's going on, Kenny. I have no idea.
It is amazing getting older when I even will watch a show like The Voice with my daughters and I'll see somebody win something. I'm literally just could bawl my eyes out right then and there. Like if
it gets worse. It really gets worse, you know. But hey,
Cody,
wait, what was that, Cody?
He's saying it's menopause. I don't think it's menopause for me.
It's the appreciation of life, Ray, is what it is.
Yeah. It's the appreciation that you're not going to be here.
You know?
It's the appreciation that you're not going to be here much longer. I think that's what I'm crying for.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out just like I came in, kicking and crying and screaming.
That's right.
Yeah.
What were you going to say when I so rudely cut you off? Do you remember?
No, I was going to say, did anybody see the Year of the Fighter with Matt Serra? I thought that's a must watch, man. It's really, really good.
On Fight Pass.
Check it out.
Yeah. You got to check it out. It's really pretty cool. It was even good for me to go back and reminisce. And, you know, I look like I'm 12 in that thing. Right. And I'm probably 50.
Right.
I don't know, Kenny, if that puts anything in perspective, but somebody sent me the picture. I go, wow, what am I, like 14? Yeah, I was 49 or 50. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you guys still have hope. That's what I'm saying.
That's
good.
Good. Yep.
Good to hear.
In our mid-40s. Year of the Fighter, Matt Serra on UFC Fight Pass. I'd imagine since Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes, you've been asked repeatedly how that upset maybe stacks up to what Matt Serra did against George St. Pierre. Have you been asked that question a lot?
Not a lot, but people have brought it up. But look, what Pena did is unbelievable, right? But you know, I think it's that we've gone through a lot of upsets at this point, like we could point to. But when Matt did it, there really wasn't any huge upset. I think that's why it was really so big. Is that first off, St. Pierre? It was just the timing of it. St. Pierre was considered unbeatable at that point, and there wasn't those big upsets. I don't think so.
And the way that he did it too. The way that he did it too. You know.
Yeah. I think you're gonna love watching that thing, and it'll make sense even after. I mean, we were fully confident. I mean, I'm telling you, even when I'm doing the interview, I mean, I remember the camera guy stopping, you know, and thinking I was completely insane. But we were on track with that. We never had any intentions of going to the floor. And Matt says it in that thing. He faced good wrestlers that couldn't get him down. Why are we going to expend the energy? So we went the other route, make him think we're going to go down, and then he stood up with him, and I knew Matt had the power to do it, and that was it.
All right, a couple other things I want to get to. As far as our corner man or coach of the year, we were joking. Now joining us is 2021 coach of the year nominee, Ray Longo. We did not give you our coach of the year. So I first wanted to break that news to you. You were nominated.
That's awesome.
No, I mean, obviously we can't. I guess we could. We could give you the coach of the year, right?
Definitely.
Like here's the fucking deal. Okay. If Aljamain Sterling beats Piotr Jan as a plus 260 underdog, right? I'll give you your fucking coach of the year for 2022.
100%.
But I was just saying to Kenny, as we were going through, it's the hardest category for me. So when I'm like, all right, coach of the year, and I just started writing down names, right? By whatever criteria, I had 18 men or women written down. And I just think we're in an era, and I know you've acknowledged Santino DeFranco and other guys in the past. I just think we're in an era where not unlike the game and the sport developing with calf kicks and face cranks and everything else. But you're seeing coaches develop, even guys who aren't traditional martial artists, developing into really sound mixed martial arts coaches.
Yeah. Just give me a couple of names who are you talking about? As
examples? Well, I mean, there's I mean, not specifically. I mean, Eric Nixick is an example of a guy who's a football player who didn't have the traditional martial arts background.
I got you.
Okay, as far as the coaches are concerned, I mean, on and on it goes. Even at a gym like Fight Ready, I mean, there are 4 or 5 guys whose names are escaping me that I could shout out. I don't know. I just think we're in a very good era when it comes to these MMA minds. And, you guys are obviously at the forefront of that. You've just been around for a while and realized success in different decades,
Yeah, no, look, man, one thing is, look, for me, I'm happy and I'm grateful for everything I've done. I can't even express that enough. I mean, but dude, even that's what I'm saying. Even looking at Matt's thing, I mean, this has been going on 20, 30 years. Like even Frivola's father asked me last night, like, how much longer can you go? Like
right.
I don't know what's even holding me up at this point, but consistency, look, I've been there from the beginning. I feel like, again, I've watched everything mature into like a really phenomenal sport. And I was lucky enough to come across guys that love to fight and that were great athletes and, put my name up there too. So everything's good. I don't look for, like the awards, all of that stuff is great, but I'm just telling you, I'm content on what I did. I got a wall full of people that I'm very, very proud of. They're all doing great after fighting. And I really wanted to keep it small. And, we're still small, but getting a little bigger. But, it's just been a great run, man. It really has been. And that thing with Matt really made me go back and look and go, I never even got time to reflect on anything. Cause it's like, Weidman wins, you're on to the next.
Yeah.
There is no time,
no break
to sit and no break. There's just no break. I went from, I'm going to be 64. I went from like Atlantic City to Texas a couple of weeks ago. You know what I mean? It's nonstop. And that's for the guys coming up, those aren't big fights, So it's been a great run. I know what it takes to get guys to win, but the world is changing and you got to change with it, so we'll see what happens. But for me, it's been great. And I look forward even to helping other people, do good in anything. Like even the podcasting thing. I love if somebody gives a shit about having me on, I'm happy to be on.
Right.
It's just it's a blessing to me.
Right. Right. You didn't know we'd be calling every single Monday for 7 years, but here we are. But no, you bring up a lot of interesting points.
It's all about friendship, Kenny. It really is. And if everybody helps everybody else, it's just I think it's a better place to be. So that's where I'm coming from.
See, your legacy is entrenched, right? I mean, when did Matt Serra first become UFC champion? What, 2008? Was it earlier? 2007,
yeah.
Right. So you have been a world champion as a mixed martial arts coach, right? Here you are in your early 60s. Your team is having a ton of success right now. You have an undisputed UFC champion under your roof right now. Pumi and other guys waiting in the wings, right?
Yeah.
But other coaches haven't realized that. And like Saif Saud has said to me privately, and now I've said this publicly, and sorry, Saif, if I'm speaking out of turn, but he won't feel completed professionally until he can build a UFC champion, and he'd probably walk away shortly thereafter. So for you, obviously you're fulfilled, you're able to see Fighter of the Year, and that sort of allows you to sort of fondly memorialize that stuff. But there are some coaches that, might be a little bit younger than you, but they haven't come close to sniffing that dream.
Yeah, and again, I would change the way I look at that. I never once wanted a UFC champion. I just wanted my guys to be the best they could be, and with that came being a UFC champion. I never really looked for that, and Matt said something on the thing. We love being the underdogs, like when I was starting to get success and people were like, oh, no, make me. I want to be hated on and be the underdog. That's when I'm thriving at my best. If you get too comfortable, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. So that's the hard part. It's almost like it's the Marvin Hagler thing. He got up for 14, 15 title defenses, same thing every day, in and out, right, for years. And that's the way you got to be as a coach. Every time I think something's slipping, I got to go back to, where'd we go wrong? What happened here? What happened there? It's tough. So I would just look at, if I'm Saeed, I would just look at just making my guys like the best they could be, because a lot of other things have to fall into place. It's timing. I don't want to say like luck, but you got to be in the right place at the right time. But you better be ready when that time comes, right? So I remember even Mike Constantino saying to me years ago, we were having lunch, and he goes, "What's it like having two champions?" Like, dude, if I tell you I'm not even thinking, it's great. But first off, the answer is absolutely phenomenal. And I think for me too, and this is where I differ, and this is why I don't even think Javier Mendez gets enough credit, because that guy's produced killer after killer out there from the ground up. I'm not a guy taking guys in from other gyms and then, they were already 10-0. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to look at. Who were the guys from the ground up that started? Who threw their first punch? Who had their first pro MMA fight that went on? That I'm going to hold to that. That's not easy to do. You know what I mean? Because if you want to put me in a gym where people have to come to me, of course, I'm going to look great.
Right.
Why not?
Right. Yeah. Just legend. You don't need no Sandberg health behind him, right? Fucking legend.
That would be nice, though.
So, Kenny, do you still wear contact lenses?
Occasionally, if I have to do prompter stuff, I'll put them in.
Right. Or if you have to compete inside a cage against another martial art.
I never did for fighting. I never put up. Yeah.
So Billy Quarantello had that VPK procedure done, right? You cannot get LASIK as a professional fighter, but there are some procedures that will be approved, right? We talk about Charles Oliveira, who basically fights blind and is the best in the world. Have you ever had any of your athletes, boxers, martial artists come to you and say, dude, I can't fucking see? Or, I know a lot of fighters illegally wear contact lenses in the octagon, so I'm not asking you to out anybody, but has any fighter ever come to you and said, like, dude, I can't see?
No, nobody's come to me and said I can't see, but Luke Como was 100% blind in there. He definitely couldn't see. Yeah. And he was pretty good. But that was a big I don't even think they had the eye surgery back then, or it was very new. But yeah, he definitely was one guy that couldn't see. I think everybody else, vision-wise, is pretty okay.
All right. Good to know. That'll be my built-in excuse when I lose my amateur mixed martial arts debut. Be like, I couldn't fucking see. I'm blind as a bat. My twin brother on the other side had LASIK, so that's why he beat me.
Oh, wow.
All right, my man. Well, that's really all I have for you today, unless there's something else that you wanted to fucking wet your beak with, but it's great to see you, obviously.
I think I'm good,
real
guys.
Quick. All right, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Giga Chikadze -235. Calvin Kattar +190 as the UFC gets back to it this weekend. Some say Kattar's a live underdog. Others say that's crazy. Chikadze should be 3-1 or north of that. Obviously, Chikadze's a guy with the momentum. Kattar's been out a year since the Max Holloway thrashing. What are your thoughts on the main event this weekend?
Absolutely love both guys. Not going to say much. I think the odds, I thought they would be a little closer. I really did, because I think Kattar's definitely a handful, and that is not an easy fight. I love the way Chikadze handled Barboza. That was a great sign for maybe what's to come. But that's a tough fight. I'm saying that's going to be a very tough fight, and I would consider Cater a live dog. Is that what you said at the beginning? 100%. I mean, I love both guys, so I love the fight.
Right. No, I know you're going to sit on the fence. I understand you love both.
Oh, I'm
guys.
not doing anything with this. Yeah.
No. But live underdog is another sort of misused phrase, like prohibitive favorite. Live underdog means you think they're live enough at that number to bet them, right? So plus 190, some people thinking, man, I'm getting, he just main evented against Max Holloway. I'm getting him at almost 2-1. And other people are totally on the other side. I think it's a very interesting main event. I think it's fascinating to see where Cater is at. Like, I think Chikadze is the far more known quantity right now. I really want to know how Calvin Cater comes back from, the worst beating in UFC history.
Yeah, that's the big question. That is the big question. But I think I ran into him one time in between. So, now in that fight, they looked great, sounded great. So, Boston guys are tough, man.
Yeah,
I believe in that toughness, So I don't know. I think 3-1 would be insane to me. I think again, I wouldn't want to. I mean, if I'm Chikadze, I don't want to take this guy light. Like I should be a 10 to. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the key. But he gets by Qatar in a great way. He 100% deserves a title shot.
All right. So Chikadze wins, you're shaving your head. Sounds great. We'll talk to you next week. Good. Real quick, though. Seriously, March 5th, I believe it is. Petr Yan minus 320. Aljamain Sterling plus 260. It looks like you guys have a date, team Sarah Longo.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
We'll take a maybe. All right. Well, have a great day and a better evening. And I don't say this to sort of butter your ass, but in terms of our merchandise sales, we just had our sort of year-end call with Cody, and far and away our best-selling T-shirt was the punch a hole in his fucking chest, Ray Longo deal. So congratulations on that.
Thanks. That makes me feel like I want to kill somebody. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you later.
All right, there he is.
You're right. Take care.
He's so excited. He's just so excited to shut that computer. Look at him get out of here. The Ray Longo Minute every week for almost 7 years here on the Anik and Florian podcast. All right. Calvin Cater, real quickly, Ken Flo, back for the first time in a year. Chikadze 7-0 in the UFC. I thought it was 5-0 in the UFC. He's fucking 7-0 in the UFC. Last 2 wins, knockouts of Edson Barboza and Killer Cub Swanson. Very interesting main event. Obviously, Cater, after the Rob Font loss to Jose Aldo, trying to pick up the New England cartel here. Georgian figures to have a lot to say about that. What do you think about Chikadze and Cater before we get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, that's right. Was winning quietly, but now not really winning quietly. Everybody is kind of on to what he's doing. Doesn't mean you could stop it, because he truly has a dilemma with that kicking game. And it's difficult to properly know how to block the body and protect your head at the same time. So he keeps you guessing in that regard. And he's so quick with that kick that he can take you out in a number of ways. So moving really well. He's been working on his grappling for a while. Not an easy guy to take down because of his footwork. And for Cater, he's a guy who's been around for a long time, and do not count Cater out. He's as tough as nails. He hits extremely hard. He's capable of knocking out anyone in that division. And I think that's going to be a phenomenal main event.
And the catch is dragged in, the great James Krause. Happy 2022, man.
Let's go.
Pro practice in the can.
Oh, Dom, you see my face is just demolished right now. Yeah, pro practice done. I just got my face rubbed in the mat about 10 minutes ago. So we're good to go now.
See, that's good, right? I don't know if it compares to like a runner's high, like I could never do like a strength and conditioning workout and then come on the air because I'm like dead, but you seem to be riding the high from pro practice, which we like.
I'm not sure about that. I just put on a really good, poker face and get after it.
All right, so I'm going to announce the new scoring system for 2021, and we're just going to keep it simple as far as the units are concerned, so I don't need any round or method of victory. Obviously, if you want to say Giga Chikadze by liver kick in round 1, we'll take it. But basically, from all the handicappers I've polled, this is the easiest and fairest way to track it because we have international listeners that don't know what the American dollar means. We have American odds and European odds. We're going to use American odds as we've been using, but everything is based on a 1-unit bet. Trying to win 1 unit when you're on a betting favorite. So basically, if Petr Yan is minus 320 and Aljamain Sterling is plus 260, if you pick Yan and he loses, minus 3.2 units, right? If he wins, you get plus 1 unit. Aljamain Sterling, if he loses, you only lose 1 unit, but if he wins, you win 2.6 units. It'll make sense as the guys get going. Ken Flo was just breaking down Chikadze and Kattar, so I want to start there as we sit here on Monday of Fight Week. We don't have a co-main event right now. Giga Chikadze minus 235, Calvin Kattar plus 190, James. How do you feel about this main event, and ultimately on which side do you fall?
Man, it's really tough to bet against Giga and anybody striking. I will say this. I'll just lay out the pros and cons. First of all, I really like I'm not even sure what the over is, but I see this fight going the distance just because Kattar is so freaking durable. And Giga is he's a good striker as well. I'm sure the over is at 4.5. Am I right there?
I would imagine. I didn't see it this morning, but I'd imagine it'll be up later.
Yeah. So I have to, anytime that I'm going against a kickboxing match, I got to go with Giga, man. He's a more diverse striker where I feel like Kattar is more of a boxing style. Giga, he's got the long kicks. He's really tough to get into range. He's defensively sound, which I'm really big on. And MMA is defensive prowess. He doesn't get hit clean a lot. His range control is extremely good. He does a lot of the things that a lot of people don't talk about. They say his striking is good. Yeah, it is, but why? It does because he does all the intricate. It is because he has all the intricate details down: the range control, defensive awareness, fight IQ, all these things that a lot of people don't talk about. But it's really tough for me to bet against a guy like Giga in a kickboxing match. I think Kattar's going to have to mix in the takedowns if he wants to win this fight.
Yeah, I agree with that breakdown, Ken Flo. And we talked a lot about this off the air, right? Methods of victory for Calvin Kattar. And obviously you're talking about a year-long layoff, 25-foot octagon. I would think he would have to mix it up. Ken Flo ultimately forced to go to the window. Which guy are you betting on?
Yeah, listen, James makes a lot of great points. This is a tough one for me, having to go against a fellow Boston native, a guy who has represented the city so well. And fights his ass off every single fight, shows so much heart every single time out. And he's got some skill as well. But I just think Chikadze is a tough matchup for him because of his kicking game. It is hard to go against Chikadze here. I think it should be a good fight, but I'm going to go with Giga here.
Right now on DraftKings Sportsbook, over 2.5 rounds priced out to minus 170. Sounds like a James Krause.
I'm playing that today.
Under 2.5 plus 140. I will tell you, and I don't like to disagree with guys like you. I would probably go under 4.5. But I do like the over 2.5. I just think that a lot of weaponry.
I agree with that.
Sides, All right. 125-pound women. We'll start with you, James, on this. This is a rematch. Caitlin Chookagian minus 170. Jennifer Maia plus 150. First meeting UFC 244, November of 2019. Chookagian won that fight 29-28 times 3. Maia did miss weight for that fight. She seems to have nipped those issues in the bud. James, what do you have for us on that one?
I have to say that I have been for a long time a big Chookagian fan. I just like her style. She's got a really elusive, long boxing style. She has a great jab, good feet. Once again, she does a lot of the details that we don't talk about. And if this was in a smaller octagon, I would not feel good about this pick with Chookagian. I think Maia has shown a lot of improvement, and her takedowns and her control on top is really good. But with the bigger cage, I definitely
it's the little guy. We got the little guy.
Is it the little one?
Yeah.
Oh shit! That changes a lot.
I like the fact that you acknowledge it as a factor, because I can't tell you how many people are so dismissive of it when I bring it up. So
I'm still gonna rock with Chookagian, but I don't feel as good about it. I don't feel near as good about it. I like Chookagian. This is why. There's one reason. She has great feet. She's got really good feet and a long jab. And Caitlin very rarely overcommits on her strikes, right? If you watch her fight with Cynthia Calvillo,
Yeah.
Amazing job of range control. And that was like the poster boy fight of what using your jab and keeping range looks like. I mean, she just did an incredible job of sticking. I think she's going to do that again. Maya is really good when she gets into good control positions. I don't think she's going to get these control positions on Chukagian. I don't think she's got the feet to get on the entries with Chukagian. I don't like it as much now that we're in the smaller cage, but I'm going to count on Henry putting together a really good game plan and Chukagian sticking to it, working behind the jab and having good footwork. So I'm going Chukagian. I feel pretty good about this one. Not as good as I did, but I still feel pretty good about it.
All right, Kenflo, this is an eliminator of sorts here for the women at flyweight. Chukagian, Maya, Act 2. Which way are you going?
Yeah, listen, I think that Chukagian certainly has the skills to get it done because of all those reasons that James talked about. You know, her jab probably being the main factor there in association with her footwork. But I do think that Maya has gotten better as a pressure fighter. She's definitely going to have to do that here against Chukagian. That's her best bet. She's not going to win a fight on the outside, in my opinion. It's going to be very difficult anyway to do it. And for me, there's certain fights where Chukagian goes out and she looks phenomenal, and there's other fights where she looks a little bit flat. I don't know which Chukagian is going to show up. I think Maya is a little bit more consistent anyway. I'm not sure she has the better skills, but she might be a little bit more consistent here. I do like the fact that it's in the smaller cage, and with those underdog odds, I'm going to have to take it here. Acknowledging that Chukagian is going to be a very tough out, but let's go with Maya here, see if we can pick up a couple extra points.
Juicy. 1.5 units if Jennifer Maya hits under the new score system. All right. This could end up the co-main event. You know, I'm looking at the second draft of the fight card. It has Muslim Salikov versus Michelle Pereira. I don't believe that fight is happening this weekend. So this one might slot in there. Two of the top 7 in the world at 125 pounds for the men. No man should weigh 125 pounds anyway. Fucking A. I shouldn't have said that. All right. Brandon Royval, minus 160. Number 5 in the world, taking on 7th-ranked Rogerio Bontorin, who is plus 140. So, James, you know, Royval's lost 2 in a row. I still consider him one of the very best in the world. On the other side, Bontorin, sort of a weird circumstance. First fight for him since May of last year. That was a win over Matt Schnell up at bantamweight, a fight for which he missed weight. It's a big fight here at flyweight. Royval or Bontorin for you, kid?
I'm a little biased. I'm a lot biased. Royval is my teammate, Factory X. But let's take my teammate hat off and let's talk real quick. Let's talk some facts. Whenever I look at Royval versus Bontorin, I see two guys that start extremely fast. Royval will have a tendency, and him and I have talked about this, like he has a tendency to overcommit sometimes and get himself in trouble with the grappling. I think Bontorin's only shot to win this fight is in the first round. I think he's got to sub Brandon to get him out of there. Brandon's not an easy guy to sub. He's a really good grappler. I've grappled numerous rounds with him. He's an extremely good grappler. I think this is a stylistic nightmare for Bontorin. And when I look at his game, I see him kind of go away a little bit. Like he doesn't end as strong as he started. After the first 5, he kind of has a tendency to pull back a little bit. And Royval is the opposite. Whenever he smells you fading a little bit, he picks it up, and he does not go away. He's super dangerous, great guillotine, great power, good elbows, good knees. He's extremely dangerous everywhere. I think Bontorin has to get Royval out of there in the first round. If he doesn't get Brandon out of there in the first round, I think there's going to be some big problems. And I think Brandon can end this fight at any point. I lean pretty hard towards Royval on a biased opinion and on an unbiased opinion. I think he's just a stylistic nightmare for Bontorin.
I love the way you set that up. Yeah, dude, Royval's a beast. One of my favorite guys on the roster. He wants it so badly. You know, I think sometimes he almost wants it too badly, and maybe that sort of creeps in to that early part of the fight. Kenflo, what do you have for us on Royval and Bontorin?
I think it's going to be an exciting fight. You know, obviously James knows Royval extremely well, and I agree with all those things that he says. I do think he's got to be careful early on in this fight. Sometimes he gets a little overly aggressive and makes himself susceptible in that process by going for it so much. If he can pace himself a little bit, stay technical because he is capable of doing that. He's got a lot of skills and is one of the most exciting fighters out there in that weight class. No question about it. I think he's got a ton of potential. I think that, early on, if he's able to weather the storm, stay in there and not get outside of himself, it's his fight to win. So I like Royval here as well. I see a lot of potential in that guy.
All right, you can see it all play out on ESPN Plus this weekend. For more from James Krause, it is at the James Krause on Instagram and other places. Good to see you, buddy. Couple red marks from Pro Practice, and we'll see you shortly in 6 or 7 days for obviously our UFC 270 preview. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys a ton. You too, guys.
There he is, James Krause, with us every week for the Main Event Challenge on the Anik and Florian podcast. So thankful we were able to get James there. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get him, but yeah, it's pretty simple in terms of the new scoring system, folks. Royval minus 160, Bontarine is plus 140. If you bet on Bontarine and he wins, it's plus 1.4 units. If you bet Royval, it's plus 1 unit because he's the betting favorite, or minus 1.6 units if he loses. So hopefully that'll provide some clarity. And again, at AnikFlorianPod, the things that I want to hear from you folks this week: which octagon size do you prefer, the 30-footer or the 25-footer? For me, I prefer the 30-footer. I'm going to take this up with Joe Silva, who once tried to convince Dana White to employ the little 25-foot octagon, even in these big arenas. Joe wanted the little guy at every single UFC live event, as Ken Flo well knows. We used to have a lot of conversations about the octagon size in our matchmaker meetings. And I used to be aligned with Joe Silva. Now, having seen it play out, I want the 30-footer. So which octagon do you prefer? That little fucking tiny thing they trot out at the Apex, or all the pageantry that comes with the 30-footer? So I want to know about that. And I also want to know what you think of the new scoring system at AnikFlorianPod if you have any issues with that. AnikFlorianPodcast.com for any of your merchandise needs. I believe FAM15 will still work for a couple more weeks for 15% off your entire order. The One More Sleep merchandise can be found at millions.co. Mary John Miss still works for the promo code there. All right. Award shows in the can. First episode of 2022 is in the can. We are going to be back next Sunday/Monday. Full preview of UFC 270. Do you know right now which side you are on, Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane?
I believe I do.
He's picking Gane, folks. Guaranteed. When in doubt,
maybe.
What?
Maybe.
Well, you'll find out next week.
In France.
Yeah, right.
Gonna have to wait.
Yeah, somebody who was trained under Fernand Lopez. We'll see. All right. Thank you all for all the support of the show. Hope you enjoy the award show, and we'll talk to you next Monday. Tell your friends. Thanks for subscribing, hitting that like button. We read every last comment. We'll talk to you next Monday. Appreciate every last one of you. Happy New Year. For Ken Flo and Cody, I'm Jon Anik. We'll talk to you soon. Yo, later.